Okay. Good afternoon to everyone. My topic for today's presentation, which is on the specific area of research, I have selected the novel The Oryx and Crake, and within which I am going to do a utopian study, that navigating utopian vision of biotechnological future through the lenses of Oryx and Crake. Now, here we have found the new word, that is utopia. So, normally, Margaret Atwood would like to refer her work as utopia rather than dystopia or utopia. What she wanted to say here is that we can't create a completely utopian world, or we can't create completely dystopian world. Within a world, we find utopian as well as dystopian visions. So what are the questions which I am going to address during this presentation would be that should we take this bleak vision, or should we take this dystopian vision which is imagined in the novel as a questioning to ethics of biotechnology. Then second question would be, does this novel recreate the consequences of unregulated experiment which are happening in the field of biotechnology? How this novel try to set an alarming warning against the future possibility or the future consequences that we might experience in the world of biotechnology. Then how the writer is becoming a truth teller, right? So we can say or we can see this topic with reference to how the writer is imagining the scientific truth within the scientific fiction. Then on what grounds novel is working as a moral instrument for socio-political commentary. And last would be, at what extent designing organism or genetically modified animals, uh, whatever we are creating through biotechnology, are justifiable, or will that interfere the natural processes of evolution or not. Okay, so normally within the novel, which is the Oryx and Crake, we find 4 dystopian places which can be termed as corporatopia, within which we found the excessive control of certain mega corporation on the world of biotechnology and on the world of biotechnological advancement. Then privatopia, within which we are founding the government control by certain companies to exploit the future possibilities of biotechnology. Then ecotopia, within which we are witnessing that how she is representing the environmental degradation and environmental abuse which are happening through biotechnology. And last one is gynotopia, within which we will see that how the patriarchal world is still dominating in the field of biotechnology, through which we try to sideline or marginalize the reproduction capabilities of the women. Okay, so utopia, this particular word is a blend of the word utopia and dystopia, and there are certain words or terms which we can use to define that term, that is critical utopia, within which we are found certain dystopian vision, and critical dystopia, within which we are also envisioning the certain utopian visions. Now, utopia is entirely perfect world, while dystopia is an entirely hopeless world. But within utopia, we will find a combination of both utopia and dystopia, and each contains a latent version of the other. So, within the world of utopia, we will find overlapping of the utopian and dystopian vision. Or if we put this term into the words of Margaret Atwood, then within each utopia, there is a hidden dystopia, and within each dystopia, there is a concealed utopia. Okay, so now we will going to see how utopian visions are imagined within the novel of Oryx and Crake. So first thing which would come up here is that that she is representing the genetically modified animals, which are like piguns are there, then raccoons are there, then another is volvox. So volvox are the combination of wolf and dogs. Now raccoons are the combinations of raccoons and skunks. And with reference to that, we can also see how the commercialization of animals is happening to to make them as a pet animal. Then piguns. Piguns is a combination of pig plus human. So in this particular novel, they are working on the Pigun project, and that Pigun project is particularly about how we can use piguns to create the human organs which can be transplanted into human beings. So this again raised the question of ethical dilemma that should we use animals for the benefits of human or not. Okay, then corporate control and societal divide. So within the novel, we will also see that as we have seen during the time of IT, we have seen the digital divide, right? So in the similar manner, here we are witnessing the biotechnological divide, that the world who are controlling biotechnology is on the one side, and on the other side there is a normal people. So we found there are two areas like corporate compound, which is largely dominated by the mega corporations related to this biotechnological experiments like Organ Inc. That is one organization. Then Healthwiser is there. Then Rejuven Essence is there. Then Corps. Right. So these are some of the organizations which are doing the studies or experiment within the genetic engineering, and they are creating a different genetically modified animals, organisms, crops, and they are using it for their own purposes to fulfill their own needs. And they do have all the excess of advanced technology, while on the other side we are seeing plebeians, right? So they are the area which is dominated by normal people. So rest of the society are living there, and they are suffering from the pollution, marginalization, and they are also suffering from different crimes. So when we see there is one event of a pandemic during which this plebeian is going to get clearer earlier than corporate compound. So if we put in the words of Margaret Atwood, that in the plebeians things went on much as usual. The people there had already been declared dead, right? Still there are certain peoples who are trying to sustain their position in the world. In spite of pandemic, we have found certain people in corporate compound, but within plebeians we are not getting a single person who is going to sustain. And at the end we have only one human being which is alive, and that is also from this corporate compound. That is Snowman, or formerly he is known as Jimmy. Okay, then another thing is genetically modified crops and genetically modified food, right? So we have to see here that how we can use genetically modified crops to increase our production and to ensure food security. So whenever they are doing these kinds of experiments and they are creating certain genetically modified crops, at that time we have also seen there is resistance from the normal people. There are laborers who are resisting against it because they are losing their jobs because of this technological advancement. And on the other side, they have created genetically modified food to ensure the food security, right? So in the positive manner also we can take, and in the negative manner, that how the people are suffering from this biotechnological advancements. Okay, now the issue of human identity and dehumanization. Right? So the major questions which emerge here is, are we dehumanizing our own identity by creating a genetically modified creatures? Or are we going beyond this human identity? So within this novel, we have a Craig, who is scientist who wanted to create a complete genetically modified society or a world which is known as the Crackers. And through which we can see that how this writer is try to blur the boundary between the real world and the biotechnological world. So it also try to portray the dangers of God complex, that if we try to become the God and if we try to go beyond the natural laws, then there are possibility that we might face certain consequences as well. And this creation of Crackers will also raise certain questions, like it will create a question related to the loss of humanity or threat to human identity. Then it will again instinct us to search on what really it means to be human. Then it will also lack a value of individuality and free will. Okay, so next thing is creation of designer drugs. Will it be considered as a solution or a threat? So the major application of the biotechnology, if we see in the field of medicine, then we can create certain drugs, we can create certain medicines to ensure the healthy life of people. So in the similar manner, in this particular novel, our protagonist Crack have created a Bliss Plus pill, which is generally marketed in the society as a solution to your sexual health, but it is secretly designed to sterilize the population, right? So major problem that he is facing is that the population in the world is increasing. So to stop that population, he create a kind of a pill. If the people use that, then they won't have a reproduction capacities. So this highlights the dark side of biotechnology, that how we can use these kinds of bio weapons to create a biohazard or bio war within the society. And it also raises ethical question, right? So we need to ask here that if it is possible, then we should have do it, or if it is desirable, that's why we should have done these kinds of things. Next thing would be how the biotechnology is working within the environmental degradation, right? So the novel paints a bleak picture of environmental destruction which is happening because of the advancement in the field of genetic engineering, right? So extensive gene engineering can be blamed for the loss of biodiversity, ecosystem disruption, and general environmental balances. Okay, so to conclude, what we can say here at the end of this discussion is that Atwood have created a vision within her novel, which is a kind of a utopia, which representing the consequences of the biotechnological experiment as well as the positive sides of this world. It can be read in context of environmental ecologic literature as well as post-ecologic consequences of this world. The novel is a story about the potential dilemmas and unintended consequences and opportunities which can be achieved so far through biotechnological advancement. And at the end, if we put into the words of Margaret Atwood, then it will question that who we are, then what we want, at what extent we can go to achieve our dreams, and what our limits should be. Right, so this is it for the presentation. If anybody have any questions, then I will be happy to answer those questions.
My question to you is that what are your thoughts on public perception of movies like Godzilla and Alien Covenant, where scientists first they produce monsters, and then ultimately that monster killed human being. The human also had the same intention that kill that monster. First they create, and then also they try to destroy. So your thoughts?
Yeah, okay. So the thing is that whenever we see these kinds of movies, right? So they are creating a monster, right? And they are visioning a dystopian imaginary within their films. So what we have to see here is that that doesn't mean that the science is going in a wrong way, right? It can be go in the right way, but we have to see those films as a kind of a caution or as a kind of a warning that if we won't be able to trace these kinds of fault within the scientific invention, then there might be possibility that we end up in a failure, right? So that we can see.
My question is, according to you, at what extent should we use biotechnology to save Earth?
Oh, that is interesting question, right? So we can use the biotechnology to save the environment of our Earth, right? To cope up with the climate changes which are happening in this world, right? We can also use biotechnology to remove certain diseases, right? We are working on that as well. Cell therapy is there, gene therapy is there, through which we can remove our genetic diseases which are right now incurable, right? So at that extent, we can use biotechnology. But whenever we are doing a kind of a threat to our nature, whenever we are doing a kind of a threat to animals, right? Whenever we are try to modify animals or crops from their natural beings, at that time we have to stop. Okay, so this is it from my side. Thank you.